don't just pay the penalties. Pay and ensure that the submission is done. Because if you only pay, you're going to have issues because they will keep imposing those penalties on your SARS profile. So you're going to keep having amount to pay to SARS, or rather maybe have a liability on your SARS profile. And then if you are to go through such process of applying for a non-tax resident or the AIT PIN, it will then impact your compliance process or profile.
Tax season brings more than just deadlines. It brings surprises if you're unprepared. Welcome to today's podcast at Tax Consulting South Africa. I am joined by my colleague, Alex Mahundla, our esteemed Tax Diagnostic Specialist. Alex?
No, thank you, Chrispos, for inviting me to the podcast. I'm Alex Mahundla, a SARS Compliance Specialist and tax practitioner here in Tax Consulting SA.
So today's topic is fairly simple, Alex. It's a tax diagnostic report. So what basically is a tax diagnostic report?
In simple terms, it's an overall compliance check on your SARS profile, meaning you as the taxpayer, you come to us maybe with a query, then we do an overall check on your tax matters, meaning on your SARS profile, to check where maybe the issues may lie, and then we provide the recourse as of your SARS profile.
So then what if a client comes and then the client does not remember their tax number, and the client is not, let's say, an expert who's been abroad for many, many years?
No, we do meet up with such cases. So what we normally do, we run a test on our side. Obviously, we do have tools for that, whereby we do a proper investigation in terms of finding out whether the taxpayer left South Africa with a tax number, or rather the taxpayer or the expert then didn't have a tax number. We do a test and then provide feedback from there.
Nice. Okay. And then in the case where now, let's say, the very same expert, the tax number is inactive. Now we are introducing before you go into the tax diagnostics.
Yes.
So if a case when a client does not have an active tax number, how do you go about it?
Okay. In a case where the taxpayer has an inactive tax number, we need to book a SARS appointment. Therefore, in terms of delivering the report in time, it then becomes delayed. So a SARS appointment needs to be done, and this will be done through a tax practitioner. Myself, I do conduct one of those engagement with the SARS official.
And then obviously it prolongs
the process. Yes, because you will note with our clients, or rather the expert, when they come to engage with services, most of them, they want to cease their tax residency, and it will then add up to maybe prolonging the service or the deliveries in terms of their matter, because we need to book a SARS appointment, and this is obviously based on the availability as per the SARS website.
Okay. And now let's go actually a bit more deeper into the diagnostics.
Yes.
Because you've said it provides a comprehensive report, which means it's a detailed report of my SARS profile. So now what actually is entailed in a diagnostic report? Is it something that I can take even when abroad and use it for an RE if I'm going the route of encashing my policies? Or
so in a way, in a simple mean, I think it's better if we do provide maybe our viewers or audience with a peace of mind that it's a non-triggering review on your SARS profile, because we report directly on what SARS is correctly saying about your tax matters. Because you will note with most of the clients, or rather the expert, they have left long time ago. They've never even bothered to check their tax matters. So what we do with such report is to give you a peace of mind, or rather to know where you stand with SARS, and then I'll then go into details on what do we include in that report.
Oh, so now maybe let me give a scenario. I think I'm getting an understanding.
Yes.
So now I'm an expert, I'm abroad.
Yes.
And now I've been years outside South Africa.
Yes.
And then I worked before in South Africa, and I want to get back that RA that I have. The tax diagnostic, am I able to use it will it show me my level of compliance in order to show where I need to work on before I engage?
No, thank you for that question. I think we do get so many clients like that, whereby they want to encash their retirement annuities, meaning that they are no longer maybe planning even to come back in South Africa. Now they want to get those funds out of South Africa, obviously. So with that, you do need maybe an AIT PIN for you to send those funds out of South Africa. But we need to conduct a compliance check for that. That's where the Tax Diagnostic Report becomes even more important for you as an expat.
So it's a health check in terms of taxes.
Yes, you can take it as a medical check for your taxes. And then we do conduct a proper health check on your tax matters to give you peace of mind to ensure that, okay, there are certain issues there and there that I need to then fix before I even obtain relevant documents from SARS.
So as you have said, it's a health check. So I guess there are things that it looks at which now are in depth in the diagnostic that you focus on. What are those kind of things that the diagnostic covers?
Okay, I think let's just go back to let's just say I can give you a scenario. Let's just say you left long time ago. I can give you an example of maybe 2016, right?
Yes.
We can do a historic check of the previously submitted tax returns. Is it that they were submitted by yourself as the taxpayer, or rather maybe your tax consultant that maybe you were engaging with while you were still in South Africa? So the reason why we do that, we just need to ensure that the tax return was correctly submitted and ensure that should there be any deemed CGT implications in the year that you have ceased to be a tax resident, that has been accounted for. So we go back in those years to check properly that everything was done correctly. If not, should there be any corrections, we do that after the report. Yeah, and there's maybe to add further, sorry, just to catch you up there. And to add further, you'll know that most of our clients, they do come through to say, okay, I have a certain worry in terms of my matters. Mostly they are worried that maybe there might be some outstanding tax liabilities on their tax matters. So with that report, it gives you peace of mind because we then show you that, okay, you have left long time ago. However, this is what SARS is currently saying about you. Then we show you a statement detailing what you owe, or rather maybe if there are any refunds in your account as of that time. So it gives you what the outstanding tax liabilities, or rather maybe if there are any things that we need to look into.
Interesting. And then in the sense of company directorship, does it also cover that aspect?
Yes, no, thank you for that question. You will know that most of the clients, what they do is that when they're still in South Africa, they register obviously, or rather be linked to directorships in South Africa with the CIPC. So what then happens is that they leave South Africa, they no longer resign, or rather maybe look for deregistration of those CCs or companies. So now you come back to say that, okay, I want to leave South Africa permanently. Now I want to do this process. Because with SARS, they check an overall of your tax matters. These then include your companies. With the Tax Diagnostic Report, we do a CIPC check to check if there are any directorships linked to your ID number or passport number.
So it's able to show me that I have a company. Is it compliant? And as well, is it in the registration phase?
Yes. A more detailed one will then show you if the company is compliant. But what we have picked up is that it will show you that, okay, you are linked to this company. Is either the company is still active or inactive? And also shows that is either you are an active director or inactive. But the best way is to then deregister if you no longer involve yourself in such activities or the company.
And I guess since now the filing season has been opened, there is nothing as important as a diagnostic report, because it gives you a clear findings to say this is where you are, how SARS knows you, and this is what you need to do in order to remain compliant. And talking about the filing season opening, there's been some new changes to the SARS submission ways. Yes.
Yes, you will know that obviously when you're submitting a tax return now, he's going to specify whether you submit as a tax resident or non-tax resident. However, you won't know if you will be submitting in a correct manner if you don't have a report, or rather you know your tax matters to that level. Because you need to follow a certain process for you to then confirm that you need to submit as a non-tax resident. But with the report can give you a clear indication that is either we need to correct your status with SARS, or rather maybe the status is fine and you can then proceed with the submission. Because a simple mistake or rather an omission of a submission can then result in huge tax liability that can be very much complicated to complete.
And prolongs you getting a peace of mind.
Yes, with money involved or other finances involved, it can be very much stressful. So hence it's much important for you to then consider or rather maybe look for tax professional when you then engage in your tax matters to ensure that you do a proper thing, or rather,
You have mentioned that you can do a tax diagnostics and it doesn't trigger anything with SARS, meaning anybody can just do a tax diagnostic. Can I do a diagnostic for 3 years?
Yeah, we can go back up to 3 years or even further. Because remember, to review those tax returns, we then go to your profile to check and when did you start filing.
Okay. And then does it now mean for the next, can it last me until next day, or does it expire in terms of the findings?
No. The findings don't expire. Obviously, the finding as per your SARS records. If you then maybe need an updated version of your tax diagnostic, or rather maybe to understand as of that time, we can then do a proper update of your tax diagnostic report. But the findings don't expire unless if maybe there are any significant changes of your current situation.
I see. No, thank you, Alex. And then in terms of the findings that come from the diagnostics,
yes,
what are the common findings that you get to solve before maybe a person is in tax residence? What are the common findings that you get to engage in before a person can apply?
Yes, I mean the common one you'll know that is mostly the flag tax returns, outstanding tax liabilities that need to be paid. Obviously, if you have outstanding tax returns that are flagged by SARS as outstanding, you then they impose penalties in terms of those. So we then face up challenges in terms of maybe you'll find that the liability or the penalties are much higher. So that's when you need to ensure that filing
and penalties for every month, or because
they can impose penalties every month. They can set up penalties that they can impose every month, and then don't just pay the penalties. Pay and ensure that the submission is done. Because if you only pay, you're going to have issues because they will keep imposing those penalties on your SARS profile. So you're going to keep having amount to pay to SARS, or rather maybe have a liability on your SARS profile. And then if you are to go through such process of applying for a non-tax resident or the AIT PIN, it will then impact your compliance process or profile.
I think we have seen instances where you are engaging with a client and the client comes back after you receiving the diagnostic.
Yes.
And then the client says, when I left South Africa, I was not owing anything.
Yes.
And your report, Alex, is telling me that I have flagged for this year of assessment and there's a penalty of this much. How is it possible that when I left or when a client left, zero, not owing anything to SARS, but then now your report states that they owe? And most of them, they even say, since you had access to my SARS profile, you're the one who caused it.
No. I think for such it's just a confusion, because we will even show you the records on where the penalty is coming from. Because if it was flagged, or rather maybe the penalty comes from your 2016, we'll give you a detailed statement showing you that, okay, this amount comes from this year of assessment because it was flagged long time ago. And it's possible that you might have left 2016 and maybe SARS then flagged that tax return the upcoming year of assessment. And because maybe your OTP details or the contact details are outdated, that's why you're not even getting a notification to show you that there's a problem on your profile, or rather maybe there's non-compliance flagged on your profile. And adding just to that, sorry, just tell me, adding to that, I think most of our expatriate clients, what they do is that they don't update their contact details. So you're not even getting any communication from SARS. So with the Tax Diagnostic, it comes in to show you that, okay, we can notice that, okay, your address is not even updated. Your contact details are not even updated. Let's rather engage further and ensure that everything is accurate on your SARS profile.
And we have actually also seen concerning when they leave, they're not updating their contact details. Even in the case of residency, you find a client comes to you and says, "I've ceased. I'm no longer coming back to South Africa. I am a Canadian or US citizen. I've stopped my citizenship in South Africa." And your report comes, Alex, and it tells me I am a SA tax residents. How is that confusion?
Yes, and that's why maybe you need that expatriate tax consultant, because just because you left South Africa does not really mean that your status will automatically change. It's a formal process that you need to follow with SARS of ceasing your tax resident. And here we normally call it your golden letter, which then is a formal process that you need to do and follow with SARS to ensure that you confirm that you are a non-tax resident from SARS perspective. So with the report, we can actually show you that your records are actually still showing you as a normal tax resident, meaning that you are still taxed on your worldwide income. Until you have proven so. By proving so, it can be with that a non-resident confirmation letter. Yes.
So because they have not yet formally applied for anything with SARS. So the report clearly just gives them a whole detailed life of how SARS knows them and what they've not done.
Yes.
It's quite a very important report, I see, which brings me to my next point of the need and the importance of having a professional taxman or tax practitioner.
Yes. You will note that on my previous comment that I've mentioned that having a tax professional is quite important, because if you can just erroneously type in something there when you are busy submitting your tax return, you can end up with a huge tax liability.
And we have seen those pains.
We have seen such cases whereby the taxpayer decided to say, you know what, I'm going to submit the tax returns on my own. I don't want a tax professional, but that even costs you more money to pay, because now you need to invite a tax professional to come and look at your tax matters now, while you could have actually done that before you even created that tax liability.
And I've seen it before. Like the SARS system is quite complex and can be a bit overwhelming, especially if you file returns once a year. So now you come, the system has changed. It becomes frustrating even as a taxpayer. But are you really willing for you to
take that risk? Yes.
No.
No, definitely. But if you're not logging into the SARS e-filing website regularly, so if you're doing it only once or not even maybe after 3 years, they keep changing the system or how the system is displayed. So it's important for you just to engage with someone with a professional knowledge who's well off of what's actually happening in the SARS system. They know the system better. They know how to submit that tax return better. So to avoid that, just rather engage with a professional.
And they also obviously advocate for you on behalf with SARS, giving you a peace of mind.
Yes.
No, thank you, Alex. I think it makes sense now. From the start of the diagnostic, it's the front. Start with it, and then it's a health check. It shows you where you are with SARS, and then it also helps to give you recommendations of the next steps to take. So it's a brilliant piece of document. and it's very cheap as well.
Very reasonable. I think we provided us a reasonable price. Reason being, we just want to give the taxpayer or an expatriate or a client a peace of mind that, okay, this is where you currently stand with SARS.
Yes.
Because I think it's much easier for us, or rather more, we have a good standing leg when we know your matters, where you stand with SARS, and we can provide an accurate guidance on how we need to resolve or rather engage with SARS. Because if we are engaging with SARS blindly because the taxpayer came in to say, this is my issue, but we have not done the report, it becomes even more complex for us, because we'll have few issues popping out after we have engaged on your matter. It then prolongs the process. So when you conduct the report or that health check on your tax matters, we know upfront what are we facing. We then can deal with those matters in a very professional manner, knowing on how to address them accordingly.
Thank you for this very informative session, Alex. And I believe even our viewers at home will find it very informative. To our viewers, don't wait for SARS to contact you. Take control now. Please also like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you. See you in our next episode.